So good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. This webinar is about the challenges facing community engaged research, and we are lucky to have three of our young researchers here, and we're going to find out what they have to say about their experience. That's the main objective of this webinar. I'll just begin. My name is Andrea Moreira, and I work for the VCRC, the Black Community Resource Center. So for those of you that are not familiar with the VCRC, it's a growing resource-based organization that strengthens community capacity by providing professional support to organizations and individuals in need, and it takes a holistic approach to meeting the needs of the community, particularly the English-speaking Black community. So the organization has a long history of research projects, and also with very creative methodologies. And there are, I'm not going to go into details, but you can have a look at our website for more information on all of these current and past projects. You have the link here, or you'll be provided with the PowerPoint presentation later on as well. That being said, I'll just jump into our particular program that we're going to talk about today, which is the Youth Mentorship Project. And the Youth Mentorship Project focuses on building research capacity among the English-speaking Black youth and community organizations. One other objective of the Youth Mentorship Project is encouraging young people to get more involved in their community, particularly by using a community engaged research approach. So with knowledge production and knowledge sharing with the community, integrating a very holistic way of thinking, so valuing all the diversity of ways of being in the world. And therefore our approach is interdisciplinary, and we encourage the negotiation between the diverse experiences, research practices, and methodologies. So in the Youth Mentorship research project, it's a program which consists of different individual research projects. And so all projects were focusing on the well-being and state of Quebec English-speaking Black community, sorry. And we're also building upon research that was conducted between 2019 and 2021 by the Black in Quebec project. That was a former research project from the BCRC. With the objective of providing deeper understanding to certain issues and address some of the identified information gaps from this previous research that the BCRC conducted. So this project was fairly open at the same time to researchers' interests and experience. And again, it ultimately aimed to encourage young people to get involved in their community and through this research-based approach. So English-speaking young Black researchers participated in research capacity building workshops and mentorship sessions to build their research skills. We recruited young people, younger than myself, between 18 and 35 years old, to create their own research projects. Again, we had workshops and mentorship sessions to inform them of these information gaps identified in previous research, and also provide some skills and some more information on how to go about conducting this research. So the results of this research will be published in the Institute for Community Entrepreneurship and Development, ICED journal. So wait for that. It's not going to take that long anymore. So aside from this, the researchers were paired with the mentors, and we tried to pair researchers and mentees and mentors with similar research interests, and also the mentors had previous experience in conducting research, so they could support the participants as they proceed through the research process. So the mentors were meeting with their mentees a minimum of 6 hours in the course of the month. So this varied. Some were meeting more often, others less often. And the support included discussing research approaches, identifying relevant literature, giving feedback on written products, and amongst other things. So there were 4 also. This was a very important component of the project. There were 4 mentorship sessions held with what we called our research supervisors, or like senior researchers, senior mentors, that actually had less of a one-on-one relationship with all the researchers, but provided essential feedback to them at different stages of their research through these mentorship sessions we had. So there were 4, namely, and our research supervisors, Sita Randas, Associate Director of Office of Social Accountability and Community Engagement, Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences at McGill University, among many other things. And Yvonne Kenyas, Public Health and Bioethics Professional with key research experience, namely with research ethics guidelines. Apart from that, there were 10 workshops intended to support our young researchers in carrying out their projects. And this was a main component of the Youth Research Mentorship Project. So maybe just I have a table here to provide you just an idea of the workshops we held. So our first workshop was about this research project that I mentioned before, Black in Quebec. And the host was our research coordinator, John Davids. He was also the lead in this project with Xiaoyan. So there was a presentation of Black in Quebec study as a means of helping to contextualize, this project and what information we would like also to obtain, and the gaps to fill. So then we had other workshops. So one of the other workshops was Understanding the Language of Anti-Racism with Professor Terry Givens. So giving it a deeper understanding of anti-racist rhetoric. We had workshops on visual and creative research methods, Professor Paulo Favero, who actually gave follow-up sessions later on to those interested in this type of methodology. So we also had workshops on Black feminism and intersectionality. Professor Natalie Batcherville from Concordia helped explore some of these questions. On research design with Professor Richard Kostner from the Human Motivation Lab, Psychology Department, McGill, on qualitative but also quantitative methodologies, community-based research approaches. And further on, we also saw to deepen our knowledge about data collection and analysis, we had Professor Alejandro Hernandez talk more about data collection and analysis of this data while working with minority communities. We also discussed what we understood by Black identity with Ayan Kash, publishing research, so how to publish in peer-reviewed academic journal, academic referencing and writing with Elodie Audit and Xiaoyan Fang, We had Professor Catherine McKittrick talk to us about Black methodologies, touching upon interdisciplinarity and citational practices, very important, or citational justice. Well, we can discuss that later. And finally, we had Professor Shannon Franson that will talk to us about practical approaches to community organizing and social movement, including translating knowledge to practice. So that's a bit of the overview of our program. And please, we're welcoming questions after our presentation. So if something is not clear, please just ask me a question later on. I'll move on, and I'm going to just refer this very shortly as well. But just wanted to mention a little bit some of the challenges faced by community organizations when conducting their own research is related to getting ethics approval or getting their research approved by an ethics committee. And we have been discussing this for some time as well in our meetings, also with our supervisors. So maybe just mention that first of all, we believe that research that benefits the community should be seen as a process of collaboration and shared production of knowledge. So community members have to be recognized as knowledgeable partners in the research process. At every step of the research, researchers must ensure that they have made all necessary efforts to comply with research ethics guidelines, so independently of having been officially approved by an ethical review committee. Additionally, when conducting research with community members, especially impacted by systemic social injustice and racism, we have to be extra careful not to perpetuate stigma or cause unintended emotional harm. So researchers are young researchers. Sorry, I'm always putting young in. So they were encouraged to refer to the Tri-Council policy statement, ethical conduct for research involving humans, for guidance. So the purpose of this policy is to protect the interests of people who participate in research studies. So this document is a joint policy of Canada's 3 federal research agencies: the Canadian Institute of Health Research, the Natural Science and Engineering Research Council of Canada, and the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada. Maybe that's more our area. Apart from that, we created an ethics package that included, among other things, a template of an informed consent to ensure participants were properly informed and gave their consent to participate in the research. So I'm finalizing here, and I'm going to soon give the word to, which was far more interesting to hear, to our young researchers again. Sorry, I'm saying this so many times. I'm hearing myself like. So some of the challenges facing community organizations are, and this is one of the challenges, of course, but that we wanted to mention here or give a particular emphasis here are the ethical approval from review boards. So no doubt we need to ensure that the research conducted is culturally appropriate, and individuals and communities are not only protected from research harm, but also benefit from the research. But to have ethical approval from review boards is also very time-consuming and resource-consuming. So university and health-based ethical review committees, they actually predominantly serve as gatekeepers that consider the ethical implications of research design, while community-based researchers routinely do not have access to this level of support or review. However, that said, community groups are also increasingly establishing ethics review committees of their own to determine whether and how research is conducted in their communities. And some of the challenges here are also related to time. The process usually takes a long time. Recruitment and support of engaged reviewers, as well as infrastructure to support the review process. So unfortunately, many communities do not have the resources to create and sustain research ethics review process. But I won't go further on this. It's also not like I'm not an expert in the subject. It's just a topic that needs further attention, and we will have a webinar on this subject or on ethics and research in general in this series more towards the end of June, and we'll keep you informed of the date. We don't have it fixed yet. So thank you for hearing me, and I will pass the word to our brave researchers. I'll let them present themselves, and I really thank them for agreeing to sharing their experience with us here. So Lys, please go ahead.
Hi, my name's Lish. I'm 21 years old, and I've just graduated my undergrad in psychology at McGill University. So I think for my research specifically, being a student was like the main focus. I was really interested in, people's experiences being like university students and like how they live that. But before all of this, I had basically no experience in research. I mean, I've had a course in CEGEP one a few years ago where we looked over at like how research is conducted, but really like the broad terms, the broad strokes, nothing really like hands-on, which is why I think going into university and starting my bachelor's, I really understood how research is important and how it's basically how you get new information and you revise what's been done. I think it's really important, and I really wanted to like have more experience doing research since I didn't have any. Which is why when I found that the VCRC were starting the youth mentorship project, I was really excited. I really wanted to participate and engage in like community-based research, because I feel like in universities you do a lot of research, but nothing really hands-on like community-wise, which I think is really a strong point of the VCRC. So I was really excited to participate. I had I had many anxieties prior to like conducting my own research. I feel like since I haven't done any, I was really like lost, but also really curious. So I think it was a mix of like curiosity, but also anxiety and preoccupations. I didn't know like what to expect, which is why I think going into this maybe blind kind of was really good for me, because I could take in all of the comments, all of the feedback, and like take this as a like really like the first good experience. I think it was really solid step for me towards like conducting more research in the future. So my research specifically, the general idea, I wanted to know if university students, well, Black university students had any challenges, and like what was the state of their well-being being in their classes, as we're so underrepresented. I think for me, that was a really important point that I wanted to address and research. I've been in many classes for many, many years, and I can count on my hands the number of like other Black students in those classes, which to me is a problem, but also something to address. There's room for improvement, there's room for change, which I think that's what really guided my research. And when I started with the VCRC, this project, I had like a general idea, but nothing really, specific that I could work with. And I think the youth mentorship project and all of our, mentorship sessions and all of the help we got really helps you like get more like fine-tuned and really get to the question and the what really matters to you and like how to go and like about and address that. So everything helps. I think when you come to like this project with like no experience, like I did, anything and everything is you know, important, and you have to like pay attention to. I think about Xiaoyan. She was my mentor, and we had bi-weekly sessions. We spent an hour going at my research. What are the things we could improve on? What are the things that like we have to think about for the future? She was really, really a strong pillar. She really helped me during like the whole program and project, which I'm really thankful for. I'm thinking about our supervisors. We had amazing mentorship sessions with them, which were really helpful. I think um also being a student, I try to seek out help from my professors at McGill. Uh, I went specifically and like saw one professor, Dr. Kayla Christoph. I talked to him about my research. I asked him if he had, you know, any specific tips for me to like how to like build a survey, how to reach out to more people. What are the tips and tricks that I have to think about? And I think seeking out and, you know, asking asking different people with different expertise what they think about research, what they think about yours, how they can help you improve, really helped. I think that's the one thing I got away from all of this project, is really seeking out people, asking them about their experience and expertise really does no harm. You can only get positive feedback, I think, which was really helpful toward all of this. And the most difficult part, I have to mention, it's the whole thing is challenging, yes, but I think the specific thing that was really stressful, well, for me, was the writing part. Because I mean, that's the final thing that you give out to the world, right? That's all the like your labor and like your thoughts, your emotions, all of this goes into like one paper that you have to like do well. And I think that stress got to me at some point. But as I mentioned, we're really well surrounded. A lot of people have our backs to like during all of this, which I think also helped me being like, okay, this is the biggest part of the project maybe, but you're well surrounded, you know what you're doing, you know what you want to say, you know what you want to write about, this is important to you, so just go ahead and do it. I think that was maybe how I got past the writing part, just starting writing things. And you know, we got feedback and it really helped. And I think um just having like knowing that people with more experience have our backs helped. And I mean, it's probably not the research of the year, like the most groundbreaking research, but it's still something more added in this field. And I think when we're doing community research, everything is, you know, valuable. Maybe the results were not significant, or you know, you had a small like sample size and like you had problems and issues, but it's still something, it's still a first step towards doing more and helping people do more with what you've done. I think that's one of the things I really like about community research. Everything's valuable and people benefit from what you do, even if like it doesn't appear that way. So I think the last thing I want to talk about is for people who want to do research, for people who are interested, for organizations. The one thing I think is the most valuable, well, to me, was knowing that you're surrounded with other people, people who've done research, people who are experienced in like different areas, who can give you their expertise. Just reach out to people, ask and ask again. They're always here to help. I haven't been turned out. Everyone turned down. Everyone was like really helpful, and they all want you to do better. And I feel that's the most like important thing. And it feels good to know that like even though you're struggling, people are supporting you in your struggle. And I really want to say thanks again for this opportunity, and you and the BCRC, all of our mentors. It was an incredible experience. I still have to review my paper one last time before publishing, but I really want to say thank you. It was really valuable, and I'm excited to like do more research. I didn't think it was possible. I thought research was not boring but difficult, and yeah, a bit boring, I guess, but it's actually not. It's really fun once you get in like the grooves of things and you research things that you're passionate about. I think it's really fun. So thank you. I want to thank the VCRC again. So that was me and my research.
Thank you, Lys, so much. Audrey, please go ahead.
I second everything that Lys said. Definitely agree. So for me, so yeah, my name is Audrey Mvibudulu-Feruzi. I am an EDI outreach administrator at the Faculty of Dental Medicine or Health Sciences at McGill. And as well, I am a student at McGill in the Public Relations and Communications department. So I chose to embark on this journey with VCRC because of trusted recommendation that that I would learn the ins and outs of conducting a study. So before I embarked in this journey, I knew little about conducting a research project. Actually, I knew nothing about conducting a research project. Like Lys said, it was just uncharted territories, and I just thought that it was very, very difficult. So yeah, so again, as an English speaking Black person, it was crucial for me to learn from BCRC. So when the opportunity came, I took it on, although I didn't know much about research, but I knew that I would be in good hands because of, it's BCRC is longstanding in the community, and all of the initiatives that have been created to bring awareness to issues and topics. So that also was the buy-in for me. 1 second. Apologies. Okay, sorry. So yes, so again, my current research topic is about the power of mentoring Black CEGEP and college students in Montreal. So my study aims to bring awareness to the importance of mentoring Black students to help them succeed. And I plan on conducting more research that will eventually positively affect our community with the tools provided to me by BCRC. So I worked closely with John Davids, who provided me with advice, guidance, and resources to conduct this research well. John has been monumental in mentoring me. He gave me enough support while allowing me to learn on my own. So he gave me opportunity to grow, and that's something that I really appreciate. Andrea as well. Andrea was very essential in this process. She always knew the type of resources I needed before I could even ask her. So that was very helpful. And also it shows her expertise in the field. And yeah, because even before I could ask, hey, I need this, she knew exactly what I would need in the process of my research. Yes, and then the workshops were also very beneficial and crucial. I love that they were recorded because I could always go back and rewatch videos if I needed to refresh my memories, especially when writing and especially when researching and gathering all your information. And then I will say that Sita and Yvonne were very generous with their time and expertise. And I love the sessions where we would present our research and ask questions. They also helped us to think beyond our research and helped us to look forward to what happens after the work is published. So we entered the world of research, and but then after that there's more work, but it's fun, and if you're passionate about it, you can move things and change things in your community and eventually the world. So I like that Sita and Yvonne made sure to share that with us, and as well kind of showcased the possible like they showcased as well how your future could be if you continue in the route of doing research, if you fall in love with that. So I'm very thankful for that. So then when it comes to the part of the most challenging part of the research process for me, I will say, was the data collection. So it was hard for me to find people willing to share their life stories and experiences, even with the promise of remaining anonymous. But that's something that VCRC helped me with. And then they helped me find alternatives that I was unaware of that would be available for me to continue my research so that it would be impactful and a success. And then a piece of advice I would give to people who want to embark in this journey of conducting research is to just start. So oftentimes we begin to overthink. I know I'm a big overthinker. I overthink and then I get stuck because I'm afraid. So that's as I learned through this process to just start. It doesn't have to be perfect at first, and then you can always rewrite, or you can always review your work later. And as well, you have other people who could review your work as well. So yeah, so that's I learned a lot, and I feel that I will conduct more research with the skills that I learned with BCRC.
Thank you so much. That's great. Nikita?
Yeah, so hi everybody. Everything my predecessors said is true. I was really excited to participate in this opportunity because I love speaking to people and learning from their experiences, and I wanted to get practice doing hands-on research. When I had done my master's degree, I worked with data. I had to analyze data for my final thesis, but that was data that already existed. I never had experience writing my own questions and collecting my own data, so I was really excited to do that. And this opportunity provided me the chance to do so. Before starting, I didn't have many anxieties. I was just really excited about the opportunity and to get to work with BCRC. All my anxieties and worries came afterwards. So my interest for my project was the healthcare experiences of the English-speaking Black community in Montreal. The healthcare system is challenging to navigate, so I wanted to know, how were they doing that? What were their biggest challenges? What are they doing to survive the system? So that's what I wanted to craft my project around, and that's what I wrote my questions on. The things that I found most helpful during the process was everything, I guess. We had really great training sessions. Andrea outlined them to you before. They were really high quality, like very, very helpful and informative. And I was also blown away by the level of support that the team provided to us. The mentorship with Sita and Yvonne and John and Andrea as my mentors, they were always ready and willing to help. They were so accessible, so supportive, like beyond my wildest dreams that I not expect this kind of support. So I was really grateful for that. So that was really helpful. And also working with Lys and Audrey was helpful because we had sessions where we would all get together and hear what everyone else was doing, and that was supportive. The most difficult part of the process for me was the writing. I'm not a person of many words, and academic writing is a very wordy exercise. And so that for me is hard. It's the part I was most nervous about, and I'm working through that with Andrea right now. One thing that I think is important for people who want to do research, something that they should know, is that it takes time and it can't be done alone. So, we had a fixed timeline for this project, but that's not how research works. That's not how participant recruitment works and forming your project idea and your analysis. So know that it takes time and know that you can't do it alone. All our research projects here, and Lys and Audrey also alluded to it, I feel like this was very much a community effort, and I wouldn't have been able to do this without the support of everyone at BCRC who helped us to do it in terms of recruiting. It was done with the help of BCRC and their affiliate organizations. Learning the entire process of research and writing it up, again, that's done in community. The people who volunteered to share their stories also are doing it because they trust the organization, they see the value in community. And I feel like if you're going to do research, you also need to know that you owe the people who've taken the time to speak with you to do honor to their stories and put it out there in a way that will help them and help the community and those who will benefit from it. So I really love this experience and I look forward to continuing with it in some way, form, or fashion. And I thank the VCRC for their support throughout the whole process. Andrea, back to you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much for all your very wise words. Also, Nikita, what you just said now at the end is very important about giving back to the community. So you've said so much, and I'm just gonna, open up the, can I say open up the floor for questions and comments, and kind of a discussion that we can have now until like the next 10-15 minutes before we say goodbye. So please. Okay, we have Alicia and Sita. I don't know who raised their hand first. So
Alicia, go ahead.
oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm still walking. I'm outside. I'm so sorry, but I did have some follow-up questions because first of all, just congratulations. What an incredible job, and the fact that you made it to the end and are publishing. It's such an incredible, I'm so excited to be able to read your research. And wow, that's first of all. Just second of all, is this project going to be repeated? Is there going to be maybe year 2 or year 3? That's a question more directed to the VCRC. And also just another question in terms of for the participants, the young researchers, I'm wondering what is the, in terms of support that you received, what was the most helpful, would you have said, in terms of everything that has gone in terms of the most support you needed in terms of the research process? You mentioned writing as one of the biggest things, but I was wondering if there's anything else that that also required a support, and that you received that, of course. Sorry, two-parter.
Audrey, you're muted. So
Okay,
you
sorry.
talk and then
I would say for me, it's just mainly the writing, because different writing styles, and then as well, first time writing a research paper, you just kind of wonder what is the type of style, the structure. So that was the hardest thing for me. That I needed a lot more help from and support from my mentor.
And I was gonna say, because I think you asked like what was the most helpful part of the process, and I think it was access to the mentors and people who knew more than we did, and the fact that they were easy to reach, by phone or email. They were always ready to jump on a call. I think that facilitated it more than anything, because sometimes you feel like you're alone and you just have to Google or something, but I mean, Sita, Andrea, John, everybody was just a phone call, a text message, an email, a way to talk things through with you. And that's the most invaluable part, I think.
All that was said previously, I totally agree. And I think for me, the beginning part, like the process of like the literature review and figuring out what previous research had been done, where to access those, how to read those texts, like how to read those research, what to get away from, like, and then build your own. I think that part was really crucial. And since I hadn't done that before, having the help of the BCRC and then my mentor really guiding me to like see what was done, what I can get away from that, and what I can build with. I think along with all that was said previously, I think that part also for me was I needed a bit more help, and when I got it, it really like helped me like build the flow for what followed.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for sharing.
Alicia, I think just to answer, I think one question is more directed to the VCRC about if the project will be repeated. If I understood
Yes.
correctly, I don't know how to answer that at this moment. But you're definitely will be informed of if it will be for sure.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here today as well. Sita?
Thank you. First of all, I just want to congratulate every single one of you for your commitment to this and for the commitment to your research. And I think you've picked up on it, but what you've done is undertaken something so spectacular, because it's not simply that each one of you engaged in community-based research, looking at the experiences of different aspects and members of the Black community in these different contexts that you researched. But what you really have done is something that our governments need to take a page from what you've done and learn from it. You have documented the experiences of members of our Black community. You have identified different kinds of barriers to their thriving in different contexts. And, one of you mentioned that even if the sample size is small, even if there isn't anything significant in terms of what patterns or so on you were expecting to find, that is not the big picture. The big picture is you are documenting experiences of members of our society who are still invisible and who are still unseen. And you're highlighting things, again, that impede their thriving, impede their success, impede their well-being, whether it's in the context of health or education or employment, safety, feeling included. And these things should be used to improve the situation for our community members. It should be used to help remove those barriers and to put in the countermeasures that are going to help not just this generation, but future generations thrive. I applaud Andrea and the leadership of the VCRC as well for this great undertaking. But everyone on the screen today, institutions as well that are part of today's meeting, is a community initiative itself that should be applauded and that it should be shared. This is an example of nurturing our youth and nurturing our future leaders that other communities also might benefit from. So this is not just a little story of us talking here together. This is really big, and I hope that you'll all be willing to share it so that other marginalized, isolated communities can also take advantage of such opportunities and learn and use this as a template and model to help their communities identify challenges for their youth, their elders, in different capacities, and help them to thrive as well. So I just want to say that, and I am still here. Many of you know how to reach me. Anything you need, whatever way I can help, I am still here. And it's a very important time for us. I think you're all aware we lost a huge leader of our community, the passing of Egbert Gay, who was our editor-in-chief of the Community Contact Paper, which is a community paper for Montreal's Black community. He documented the stories and the experiences of members of our Black community individually, and you guys did studies that are doing the same thing, documenting experiences. So please engage with your community and realize you are our future leaders and saviors, and you are going to be the people that inspire the generations coming up behind you. I applaud you. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Zita, for always such caring support, and you've always really been there for everyone, and that's amazing how you find time also nowadays. And Yvonne as well, she's not here today, but we thank her so much also for her like really fundamental, very sharp advice all the time. Somebody else has another question. I was just putting in the chat now that we will for sure give more information on the publication. We are planning to have a community forum also where we will share some of the results and other things that we're working on. We will for sure count on Sita once again to help us, send out this information, like she's always so rightly saying that it's so important. So I don't know. I think for me that's we can go on about talking how difficult it is for the writing process, and I hope it gets better with experience. Although it's always going to be a challenge, and one important thing there that I was remembering is always about getting your credible sources, but not only credible sources. I mean, good research, well written, that will inspire you. That is, also one important thing is what sources are you getting, and that's one of the workshops. Also, we talked about is on the diversity in the sources, and bringing in everyone's voices and so on. So that's all for me. If nobody else has any comments or any last question, I think I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll give more information on the next webinars that are coming up. We're just finalizing the scheduling. Like I said before, it's a busy time, so it's a little bit difficult at this moment to find to fit in everyone's schedules. But thank you so much for being here today. And like I said, we'll share the recording and all more information further on.
Excellent.
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Excellent work, everyone. We'll be in touch.
Great
care.
work. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.